All right, welcome to another episode of Relationship Runback. Because when you play the game and you make a mistake, sometimes you need to run that back. And today we have the Hernandezes here today with us. Special guest. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having us, man.
John and your beautiful wife.
Patricia.
Wonderful. Okay, we're gonna start off just by going over your story, and we'll start about how you got together, and then we'll dive into there, whatever comes up from there.
Okay.
Well, it's definitely an interesting story. I'm not a big believer. I wasn't in being superstitious or that whole destiny, meeting someone. So back in my day, I was wild and just not living the way you're supposed to. And it's funny because I have two kids from somebody else, and it didn't work out, and it was because of me.
Mm-hmm.
I had a good relationship, but I started cheating and doing, going out all the time, and I thought I was, the shit, and messing around. And then when she got fed up with me, I cried like a baby. I took it bad, and I remember making a pact with God, saying, if you just give me another chance with, a good woman, like, I won't mess up, I won't do that. And 10 years went by, and I dated a few girls here and there, but it's just nothing. And so I was messing up. My dad had a project in Arizona, and my family thought it'd be a good idea to send him out there. They called my dad. He was divorced from my mom, and said, hey, can you take him? Can he help out the project? And they were going to build the only movie theater in Nogales, Arizona. So they said, hey, my dad called me. I really need your help out there and doing construction. And I hadn't done construction for a little while, so I was like, oh, okay. I didn't know there was kind of like an intervention. They were trying to save my brother. Yeah, like everyone was worried about me because I was messing up so bad. So I went out there, and I hadn't seen my dad in a while either because he moved to Mexico. But he came up into Arizona to do this project. So
Nogales is a frontera, Nogales, Sonora, and Arizona. So the project is in Nogales, Arizona.
Yeah, border town. So anyway, long story short, I met her dad and brother. They were the head electricians on the job, and her brother's like, "You from Cali?" Because I used to live there. I grew up there, and I'm like, "Yeah." And they invited me over, and met her mom, and she goes, "You single?" And I'm, "Yeah, I got two kids." And I go, "I really like it out here, and I'm gonna find you a wife." And
Matchmaker.
yeah, so I was always at their house. I didn't, and so after a while, I started looking, around their house. I'm like, oh, who's this? And then, like, pictures of the kids. And I knew the brother, but there was other brothers, but they were in, like, Tucson and stuff, And that's my other brother, Alex, and my brother, Jesse, and Bobby. And I'm like, who's that? And it was a picture of her and her husband, and I think just them two. Oh, that's our sister. I'm like, oh, she's pretty, And so after a while, they were like, oh yeah, she's going through a divorce. And I was like, so I hadn't met her. Months have gone by.
Yeah.
And one day I would just go look at the pictures, and I was like, and it sounds crazy, but something told me, like, just out of left field, like I had a tap on my shoulder. People think I'm crazy talented, but it's 100% true. And it said, you're gonna marry this woman. Never met her, and she was going through a divorce, and I don't even know if it was gonna go through.
Yeah.
And it was just weird, and I was obsessed. And when I go with her, I look at her picture, and I was like, so weird. So one day she came to visit her family, and I met her, and I thought I had to fulfill this
Destiny
right, thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I'm by far a player or anything, like,
right.
I've dated, I thought maybe I was but I had no game.
Yeah.
But I got
especially with me.
I got aggressive with her, and I was like trying to like hit up on her, and she looked at me like, "You're nuts, dude." Like, I even used my kids because they were visiting me, and I told my son, I go, "Hey, invite her kids over to play games and spend the night." And she agreed. She was hesitant. She's like, "Well, I don't even know this guy," and the dad vouched for me. So I'm like, "Well, give me your number in case something happens." She's like, so
you never know.
Well, the first time I met him, I was ordering pizza for my boys, and somehow word got out. He was outside. I was inside. He was outside, and he found out. He got word that I was ordering pizza. And I said, "Well, I'm not ordering pizza for his kids. I'm just ordering pizza for my kids." Yeah. And so he says, "No." He's like, "I'll pay for the pizza." And I was like, "Well, that's a difference." Everything. Yeah. So if he's gonna pay for pizza, he's gonna pay for all the kids. Yeah. And so that's how I initially met him, because the first thing I said was, "I need money."
Yeah, she stuck her hand out the sliding glass door. And
I was like, "Oh, the pizza's here."
And I was like,
that was the first time I met him.
Now, how did you react to his aggressiveness when you first met?
I thought he was nuts. I thought he was a nice guy, but I wasn't looking, or I wasn't.
And you're going through your own.
Stuff I was there to be with my parents, kind of recovery mode.
Right.
Obviously sad and not ready. Just focusing on my kids and what was going on in my life.
But in his head, it was destined. Right, it was a done deal already.
Yeah,
in his head.
She didn't know, but it was like, because I knew she was only visiting for a little while, and I just felt like I had to make something happen.
You gotta put it together.
And so looking back now, I was like, oh, I was crazy. I was like crazy, but yeah, she's like, I remember one point I go, so what's up? Like, what's gonna happen? She was like, nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely nothing. You're like, what are you talking about? Like, who are you?
Yeah.
And but this is where you get interesting. So we kind of hung out a little bit, and I wouldn't say it was like something was happening, but I guess it kind of was. Because we were just getting to know each other, like, and we
were just friendly.
I think just friendly.
Okay.
So she has to go back, and I'm like, okay, I failed. Like, it didn't, like, whatever message I got, like,
right, yeah.
I just thought like, oh yeah, you are crazy.
Yeah.
So she leaves, and I think he gave her dad a ride back. Her dad had to go pick up he was an electrician, and he worked for this company at the time, and he had to go back to California to pick up a work truck or a van or something of that sort. And she had just left. So I was like, I was pretty down, because again, I started having feelings about like, I messed up. It hurt me for years, messing up my relationship with the kid's mom.
Okay.
I don't know if it was meant for me to be with her, but I was young. I had my kids young, but I messed it up.
Okay.
I really, messed up. I thought it was a good thing, and I lost my family.
Right.
And it hurt for a lot of years. And so it just felt like something in my heart said like, she is the one. Even though nothing was going, like, I just like, there was something about her. And I've never had that feeling. Yeah. It was just weird to me. It was foreign to me to feel that way. But anyways, so she leaves, and I'm like, wow, it was.
That's it.
I'm crazy. Yeah. And the dad, she barely got home. The dad broke down and needed a ride back. And her brother calls me, bro, can we go pick up my dad? He's in California. I don't even know what city it was. I'm like, what? It was like, they're stuck, my mom and my dad. I'm like, yeah, like, I'll help you. And then she caught wind of it. So she literally went home and turned around and came back.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, was it destiny?
Had to be.
Because we ended up getting together. And she had to go back again and, finalize the divorce and everything. Like, it wasn't through yet. Like, and so this gets crazy. So she goes back, and I'm thinking like, I'm in love. Like, oh, this is gonna happen. Like, thank you, God. Like, I'm not gonna mess this up. And like a month into it, I get a phone call, and it's her ex-husband. And he says, "Hey, don't call my wife no more." What? Like, you know, he goes, "I'm gonna try to work it out with my wife. We're gonna work it out." And I never heard nothing from her. And I'm like, "What happened?" You know, and I was like devastated. Literally, like, I just lost hope. I was like, I'm done. Like, man, I was going through the motions of life, and
It was a very confusing time.
Yeah. So what was going on in your part there? What was
Yeah, it was a very confusing time. You know, I had my issues at home, going on at home, and you know, me and my ex had three boys together. They were little, and I was very depressed, and you know, things were happening at the house, and I just think we grew apart. You know, when kids are little, you just kind of go your separate ways. I think he was in a different mind frame, and I was, and we weren't communicating. You know, he was a great dad, but as far as our relationship, we just weren't. We had grown apart.
And did you try to work it out that one last time?
Yeah, we did because I felt it was important. You know, I wanted to. You know, I felt really good with John. You know, we started off as friends. You know, I started having feelings, but then I grew up where, you know, I have children with this man, and
she owed it to the
I
family.
did. You know, I was vested. You know, we had been together for like about 10 years at this point, and we had 3 small kids, and I was like, I need, you know.
Yeah, and that's always a factor, right? We always hear our parents or grandparents say that for the kids, right?
And he got wind of it. You know, he got wind that I was, you know, talking to John, and you know, he was hurt, obviously, you know. And we talked, and we just kind of put those bad feelings aside, and we said, okay, you know, let's give this another shot, you know, for the kids. But as time went on, I knew it wasn't going to. You know, I loved the man, but I wasn't in love with him anymore. Understood. And it just wasn't going anywhere anymore. And as much as I tried to make it work.
The connection wasn't there no more. The emotional connection.
No. And
she like, I'm just gonna say it because when I met her family, you know, they were very transparent with me, and they, you know, they would talk about that relationship, because I would ask questions, and they always said she's just always, my sister's so sad, or like one of her brother's wife, they felt bad for her, like she was going through for years. So, you know, when it comes to relationship, I think people should, you gotta try to make it work.
Right.
But I guess at some point, like, and this is where it gets tricky, like, is it more destructive staying with that person? Were you never meant to be with that person? You know, it's hard, because I believe, like, you gotta make, like, we're gonna make it work no matter what we go through. But I think I was so young at the time when I got with my kid's mom, and I think it was just more like a lust thing than true love. I think we just hooked up and made a family, and didn't give any consideration to anybody, like, you know, being responsible. And she was going through a hard time. So,
but there was a lot of factors too.
Yeah, but
you know,
I respected her.
In my relationship with the kid's dad, there was a lot of factors. There was families involved. You know, I had a lot of you know, influences from my family. He had a lot of influences from his family, and at the end of the day, we weren't compatible in that way anymore. You know, so to make a long story short, it just didn't work out. And you know, we're obviously bounded for the rest of our lives because of our kids. And he was very upset, and he had a lot of hate towards me. And it was a really nasty divorce, because there was custody issues, and we had to go back and forth, you know, to the courts, and it was just a really bad time, which made me more depressed. And you know, but we got through it, and
you got through it, and you moved on, and now after that didn't work, that one last shot. Now you're with John?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
This is where.
Okay, go on. Keep going.
So I'm literally depressed. Like
Okay.
I don't even know what depression was, but I was feeling it. And I remember the day they had at the theater, the contractors put a barbecue for all the workers, the suppliers, and I remember her mom and dad were there, and her dad loved me. He was such a good man to me, and he came up to me and goes, "Can you leave my daughter alone?" Like
Oh, wow.
respectfully, and I'm like,
Yeah.
of course, like and I did respect the fact, like, okay, well, they have a family. I screwed up mine. Like I don't want to screw up somebody else's family,
Yeah.
but I was in love with her. As weird as it sounds, I didn't even really know her, but something. So, anyways, we were sitting at this barbecue at the construction site,
And
I
we
remember.
don't want to hurt anybody either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I mean, we all have families. People are going to judge. I don't want to hurt anybody. He doesn't want to hurt anybody. Like, let's just.
No matter what you do, it
Yeah.
looks like you're turning the wrong way.
But
yeah.
we're sharing this with you because it gets interesting with the families.
Okay.
So because of that, I'm the other guy now.
Yeah.
Even though her marriage, they shared with me that marriage was, they were going to go through a divorce and it was bad for a long time. But I was the first guy that came along, I guess. And so the mom wasn't happy about it. But anyways, we're at that barbecue and the dad had talked to me like days before, and all of a sudden my phone rings and I see 760. I'm in Arizona. I'm like, and she goes, "Hey, it's me." And I was just like, "What?" Like, she goes, "I can't. It's not gonna work." And with her ex,
Yeah.
and she wanted to work it out with me, and that was it. Man, my heart just like, because I was so mad with God, because it was like, you told me I was gonna marry this woman, and it was like, we're giving the short version, but like it was just like it wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And it was real. People talk about miracles and stuff. It was not a miracle, but it was just one of those things where, like, I felt somebody tap my shoulder say, "You're gonna marry her," and it was so bizarre to feel something like that. So when it wasn't happening, I was mad at the world. I was mad at God. Like, why did I go through all this? And I looked like a fool trying to go after this woman. And she called me, and she wanted to work it out with me, but she had a tie-up loose ends here in California.
And I wasn't about to do anything, for myself. That's just respect for myself. It had nothing to do with him. It had nothing to do with my ex. It had to do that I needed to take care of things. I had to, leave this marriage completely divorced, be moved out of the house. Obviously, my children come first. Make decisions, and then start.
Right.
Yeah, so more months went by.
More months, okay.
And
Almost a year.
Whoa.
Yeah, so she ended up coming to Arizona with me, and we don't even know each other. And
I mean, we talk on the phone, but
we really, like, we kind of, like, not jumped into it, but because we didn't know each other, like, face to face, other than the phone. And I don't think they had FaceTime back then.
Yeah, there's no social media back then.
Yeah.
There's no smartphones.
Yeah.
So her mother's upset with me, doesn't want nothing to do with me now. And
Because she thinks.
yeah, like I
You-
ruined the
yeah.
marriage, and so
everybody did.
Yeah.
so it was mixed feelings with so I'm happy I got her, but now it's like we had the family, and she comes from a strong Mexican family, so that it's important and to not disrespect your parents and live a certain way. And so now now she went through divorce, now she's battling that. And then we get home, and we ended up moving back to California.
Okay.
So we got together. It was kind of bad, and I couldn't find any more work out there. The theater was done, and it's a small town, so either we moved to Tucson or Phoenix, or I gotta
Back to Cali.
yeah. So I came back to California, and my family met her, and everything was good. But there was a tragedy with my sister. She lost a baby, the stillborn, or is it still? No, not stillborn. The baby was premature, and let me go back. When we came back, we were having issues. We didn't, because I think we got together, and she wasn't fully recovered.
Right.
And this is where you want to talk about making relationships work.
Yeah.
So we're fighting now,
Mm-hmm.
and her mom is in her ear, and because she, respects her mom, and even at her age at the time, like you listen.
Oh, it's the elders.
And she was already in her late 30s at this time. So we can laugh about it now, but we moved back. We moved to Temple City, and we started fighting again. And at this point, I'm like I can't do this with her. I'm done. And I was like, how? It's like, then I felt bad. Like, well, I started thinking, well, did I have anything to do with that marriage? Like, why did I take this woman?
Second guessing. Yeah.
Yeah, but it was like we were bad, and then my sister's baby, died, and we were going through so much, and it's like we talked to the church, we went and got saved. I grew up Catholic, but I went to Christian church, and it was like we need to get married because we're living together. But things aren't working, Aaron. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad, and we laugh at it now, but one day she used to crochet or knit, and we got in a fight, and I just remember we fought over a ball of yarn. I
Yeah.
couldn't even tell you how that story went about, but we laugh about it. Like,
Well, because when you're upset and there's a lot of things going on, there's a lot of factors going on. There's arguments about the family, the
Yeah.
kids, finances. I didn't have a transition. I went from one relationship to another relationship. I was going through a custody battle. I didn't know his family.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
and I was sharing too much to my family,
Yeah.
so they started building animosity towards her.
That's what happens. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about the ball of yarn.
That was just the argument.
Right. That set it off. Yeah.
Yeah, that was just the final straw, the ball of yarn.
Yeah, and now we have two families that I think they didn't want us together.
Together. Okay.
So, right?
Yeah.
And so that's like,
So then I just wanted out because then I just wanted to be, maybe I didn't make a wise choice.
Right.
Maybe I just need to have some time to myself,
Yeah.
reevaluate, and not be with anybody.
That was a tough time you're going through there. I mean, with all the
Yeah.
battles and the divorce, and it's a year later, but you're still going through
Yes.
some stuff, and the pressure and the family pressure too. That's added on top of everything.
it was
Right.
bad.
Yeah. So I understand how you would just.
We
wanna-
even we took a break.
Mm.
Yeah.
Okay.
We broke up.
We broke up.
We
It
broke
wa-
up. We lived together, and I moved out, and I got my own place, and we were still arguing because we had a place together,
Mhm.
and I moved out, and he moved his ex into the house.
Oh, okay.
Her and her family, they needed a place, so the brothers and they all moved in, and then I stayed there for a little bit, and then I moved
But
out.
I was very hurt with that
Yeah.
because I
yeah.
felt like I walked out of the front
Yeah.
front
She
door
walked
and he
in the back door.
Yeah.
So I was
Right.
also very hurt with that. But I get it, you know what I mean? Like his he needed
Well, I wasn't messing around with the kids' mom. I needed somewhere to go, and I just helped them out.
Okay.
So, but it did look bad.
Yeah.
So
so on top of everything
Right.
else.
Now you're hurt for that. And yeah. Okay.
I ended up moving to my mom's, and they took over the place, and so all this is going on here, and it's like this is never
The plan.
this.
Right,
Yeah,
right.
this is horrible. Like,
Mhm.
and I always go back to like I don't understand God. Like why are we even doing all this? Like now there's so many people involved in this relationship, and it's not working, and her kids are involved, and my kids are involved, and we can. There's countless stories where we fought so much. I remember one time we were heading back to Arizona from California, and we fought again with her kids, and I said, "Well, just leave me." And I had my sister come and pick me up. We were far, like out
wow.
Palm Springs or where, and she was with her kids, and I felt bad. It was like what are we doing, man?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
And it was just constant fighting.
Because from your relationship, did you ever do any work, any healing work, any?
No.
So you're carrying that stuff too,
Yeah.
and then she's coming from fresh out of
Yeah.
a divorce. So that's you're coming together with these two worlds are colliding.
They're colliding, and then her family was involved, and my family was building animosity towards her because I was, I have a big mouth.
Yeah.
And I would complain.
Overshare.
Overshare, yeah.
And
Overshare.
so
And they're a real close family. I mean,
Yeah.
they're a wonderful
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of them.
but
And
a few years go by, all this is going on, and it's like, this is not supposed to
Yeah,
happen.
it's not supposed to be. Yeah.
But I don't know what it was about her and about me, because it was like, I call it the love-hate.
Yeah.
I go, I love to hate you. But we needed to be together. So she moved out. I went to my mom's, and
A couple years go by, or
no.
so
Okay.
just a few months now go by, and she's like, my friend helped her move out. One of my good friends. I'm like, bro, can you just keep it out? Like, I still worried about her.
yeah,
And she moved into this little studio place in Diamond Bar, and I wanted to keep tabs on her, just to make sure she was okay, because I felt horrible. Like, I ruined this woman's life. I ruined her life. That's what I
guilty,
felt.
Yeah.
And so
we were arguing, and
we'd get together. Like, she'd call me or I'd call her, and we'd try to meet and work something. We'd go
but
meet at a
then
park.
we would fight. So I just said, you know what? Let's take a time out. I said, let's not talk. I think I told him 2 weeks. I said, don't call me. I'm not gonna call you.
Yeah.
Let's just cool
Let
it.
the dust settle. Let's see what goes on.
Yeah,
How'd that work out?
it worked out fine till his car broke down.
My car broke down. She picked me up, and I had bought her a dress, and
Of course, you always look good, right? When you're
Right.
taking a break.
she just happened to wear that dress and pick me
Oh.
up, and
It was the dress.
and we got back together. And
I could have
so-
wore a nun suit.
So all this
Some
time,
pants, some jeans.
yeah,
It had to be-
all this time went by. We were fight. We would get together, try to work it out after we, moved, and it was bad. So I tell people about relationships. It's like, deep down in my heart, I loved her, but it was like, we have no clue how to make this work. And I'm assuming she loved me like that, but it was just like, we're like this all the time. So how do you deal with that? We didn't go to no marriage counseling. We didn't, so how do you, you love someone so much, but you can't be in the same room with them?
It was just impulsive. There was a lot going on, and I think we it was impulsive for us to get together so soon, thinking like, you're in that, everything is great, everything's gonna work out, but then there's like all these loose ends that we didn't know how to make it all work. I mean, because just wasn't me and him. We had children, we had their feelings.
And my kids weren't happy about her, and her kids weren't really, they didn't really voice things about me. But, it was just a lot of issues. But we ended up getting back together, so we think everything's great. More time goes by. I'm still acting like a fool, and one day I went out and I got drunk and I crashed her car, and I came home and I told my family, I told her, don't tell my family. They came and picked me up, and it was a mess. And so, I'm kind of jumping the gun, but we ended up getting back together, and then
And we got married.
We got married.
When you got married.
Yeah, went back to church and everything, but I was still would mess up here and there.
We got married, and we didn't tell anybody we got married.
Nobody went to your wedding.
Oh,
Nobody went to our wedding.
no, that's right. So that's when my sister's baby had passed away, and we were gonna get married to the court because the church said you guys shouldn't be living together and this and that. And so yeah, I'm kind of all over the page. So anyways, we
got back together. We said, okay, look, obviously we love each other. We went back to church, and we started getting, some really good advice. And, we felt like, okay, we can't be doing this. Like, this is so destructive. And we thought about the kids, and, we want to make sure that we're there for them. Let's just,
do do things right.
do things the right way.
Okay.
So we got married. We didn't tell anybody because there was a lot going on with the family, and there was like a lot of hurt feelings. And
Well, so my sister's baby passed away a few months before, and we had made an appointment with the court. We just wanted to get married
Okay.
because we're gonna live together. So the family said, "Don't do it. We want to be part of your wedding." It's like, but they didn't understand. Like I wasn't being, I wasn't trying not to be compassionate towards my sister's feelings. It was a bad time when the baby
Okay.
died, but it's like, you guys don't understand. Like we're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
We're barely healing it, and it was so toxic for all that time. Like, we just want to do something right, so we went ahead and got married. My brother showed up to the court, and it was just we were gonna have a wedding later. We just wanted it, and my family kept asking, and they started investigating me, and like, you guys are married, this and that. No, because we had the rings on. No, and so now my family is starting to hate her. And question.
I don't think they hated me. They just, we weren't transparent, and they just
They were
wanted
hurt.
answers,
They were
and I
hurt.
think
Yeah,
they were probably just
Yeah,
hurt.
that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
So anyways, it was bad with the family.
I mean, we didn't tell my parents either.
Yeah.
Because this was just something that, I mean, it's not that we were being selfish. It appeared that we were, but we were battling, and then, we got very close to the church, This is just something that we needed to do for us, or else we weren't going to make it.
Yeah.
We were not going to make it.
Tell me more about that. What did getting married do
It
or
changed
mean to you?
It changed everything. Because,
How so?
because it felt like our souls were like,
Well, we were doing everything wrong, and that wasn't working. So it's like we went back to church. She went to Catholic school. I went to Catholic school. And I said, hey, I don't go to Catholic church no more. I haven't gone for a while, but I was going to Christian church off and on through the years. I go, would you want to go with me? So we talked to some pastors, and we got saved together.
Okay.
And we just said, like, we want to do things right, because when you start off wrong, it's
Okay.
most likely
I
going to
understand.
end wrong.
I understand now.
So we wanted to have something of value to show the kids and ourselves, like if we just start doing things right,
our life
It'll
turned
start a
around.
trend. Okay, so
Our life turned around.
Wow. Okay.
It really did. I was always so tense, and I was always like trying to do things my way. I never prayed on anything. I was always trying to fix him or fix myself. And until I got saved and we started going back to church, and I just let things go, and I started praying on things, and I left things at the cross, and I just surrendered my life.
Praise Jesus.
Yeah.
That's when things
started getting better.
Good.
My relationship with the kids started getting better. I started feeling like I could breathe. I didn't feel guilty anymore. I just surrendered.
Yeah, we had to have. You
I
had to
just
find
surrendered.
faith in God, because
That is powerful. What you just said right there was powerful. What you could breathe.
I could breathe. I just let it go. I just said, all these years, like, I just try to fix it all the time. And I try to be a very kind person, and I don't talk a lot. I always just hear everybody. So you kind of just pack it all in, right?
Yeah.
And when things weren't happening, and I couldn't understand, and I was just going crazy. And I remember on one of the trips, because I was also doing this custody battle with my ex, and on one of the court sessions, it didn't go well because I had to pay him child support. So I was like, what else?
What else can go wrong?
What else could
Yeah.
go wrong? And I remember driving home, very specific, and I was screaming, in the car. I mean, it's lucky that I didn't hurt myself or hurt anyone
Yeah.
else. And I pulled over to the side because I couldn't drive anymore, and I was just screaming. And this was just one of those moments where I heard God basically say, why are you trying to fix it? You've already
You tried it your way.
Yeah, just let
Give
me
it to
do
me
it.
now.
Yeah, and that's when I had that moment.
And that was the factor.
And that's when I said, if you're just playing with me and you don't want to live this life with me,
Yeah.
then just go. But this is what I'm doing,
Mhm.
and if you want to be part of it, then be part of it. If not, then just let me go,
Yeah.
because this is my limit. I
You
can't
have
do
to,
it anymore.
yeah. You had to
Yeah.
turn to him.
Yeah.
It was, you know,
and that's what we did.
we look back, and here's the thing: there's so much more. So I'm all over the page with it, but it was just, it was like most people say, like, you guys, this is not a good idea. This is not supposed to happen.
But this is why we got married.
Yeah.
And this is why
Yeah.
why it had to happen like that. A lot of people may not understand it.
Yeah.
But this is why it had to happen. And it wasn't because we weren't being like understanding. But at that moment,
Our
You
way
gotta
wasn't
take care of
working.
yourself. You
Yeah.
had to take care of yourself. And John, when she said that to you, what did you feel inside?
A mixed emotions, because I was like, again, I was feeling bad that because I was so irresponsible and so spontaneous with my actions that I never really think things through.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt like I loved her with all my heart, but at the same time, it was like I feel horrible. Like I dragged her into my chaos.
Mm.
It's okay, to me. It's okay. You want to ruin your life,
Mm-hmm.
fine. But when you start dragging other people into it, you feel bad. You feel
Yeah.
horrible, and it's like you. I was talking to myself, like, you say you love this woman like the way you do, and she's destined. God told you, it's like, why are you putting her through this?
Yeah.
And I had to, I had to open my eyes, like, she's a good human being.
Mm-hmm.
She's a good woman. Like, what are you doing to her?
Mm-hmm.
But everything that was happening with us, like, I put blame on circumstances. I didn't take responsibility for my actions. And when she gave me the ultimatum, and it was like, I stepped back too. I was like,
and I would have been okay if he would have said, you know what, I can't handle all this.
Yeah.
Because I have 3 kids.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to put myself and my 3 kids for the first time in my life, not depend on anybody, my ex, him,
Mm-hmm.
my family. It was a moment that I had to take as a woman.
Yeah.
And if he was going to come on board, great. If he wasn't, I was prepared to just do it on my own.
That is a moment right there, so significant in a person's life when you reach that point.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? All my entire life, I've been taught to depend on this, depend on that, and look for this. But now, I'm going to stand on my own 2 feet.
Yeah.
And that's when growth really occurs. That's when you have a strong sense of yourself.
Yeah.
That's
It was the
wonderful.
Scarlett O'Hara moment.
Yeah, definitely.
It was.
Definitely.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you got married.
We got married.
Everything was roses and
well.
wonderful.
The family had bad blood because I like I said, I had jumped the gun, but I had messed up, and my family, I kept secrets from them. So they thought she was trying to intentionally hurt me or doing this and that, and I didn't clear it up. So, and her mom there was still issues with her family, not so much her brothers but the parents, and we don't want the parents to be upset. So now we're together. Things are starting to work for us.
Good. Okay.
but
Get some traction.
but the families, like, they didn't do anything significant, but it was just
pulling
there was still some tension there.
And at this point,
Yeah.
I was just going to let him handle it because I was at that moment where I was
Yeah.
like, this is something he needs to work out.
Yeah, but
You
when it's all said and done, we went through a lot more trials and tribulations. And even though we got close to the church, I would still mess up here and there. Not being like cheating or anything like that, but like I'd go out and drink, or I'd get us in financial trouble, and I was still playing that roller coaster. And
because he got a job that where he had to travel. He got a really good job with the drilling company, where he would go out
Okay.
and just come home on the weekends. And then I was working, but I was home, but he was out of town.
and I'd go drink with the guys, and
Right.
I'd mess up here and there, and
How long? What period is this? Is this a period over 2 or 3 years?
so this went on for a few years.
Okay.
And,
So
and
you're married.
so
You
now
get
we're
this
married.
good job.
Yeah.
You're traveling.
And then we were bouncing around. We were moving a lot. So this went on for a little while because it was like, okay, we're gonna move here, and then we're gonna move here,
Okay.
and then even though I was making good money, I wasn't saving my money. I was blowing my money, and
Because our life was improving.
Okay, it wasn't.
believe it or not, it was getting
Yeah,
better.
our life was getting better. So we moved from like an apartment to a house, and then we saved some money, and then we ended up moving
To Vic-
closer to the where the kids' dad,
Okay.
where my kids were, and we ended up moving to Victorville.
Okay.
And then we
Where you bought a home.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was getting better, but it's like because I'm in love with this woman.
Mm-hmm.
I love her,
Mm-hmm.
and with all these stories said, like I knew I wanted to be a better man
Mm-hmm.
and actually be responsible. So like I took my career serious. You know, I got into drilling. I always been construction, but I got into drilling. I took it serious, so I advanced, became a supervisor,
Okay.
and I wanted to buy her a home and you know, I wanted to give her the things she deserved. And she's not a materialistic girl, so it wasn't like we were buying stuff. It was just like I wanted to give her a better life.
Understood.
For us, but
Right.
for her. So it got better, but you know, every once in a while I'd mess something up and we'd fight, but it was always like the stock market. You know, we'd go down a little bit, but we were always climbing. We're always climbing,
Okay.
and things got better. We you know, when your heart, when you love somebody, you know, you can overcome a lot of things. And we look back on all this stuff, but how do I say this? You know, I always knew like she was the one. Even when I questioned God, like my heart was like, I need her.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, we can't be together. Like, you know, like we'd fight, but it's like my heart kept like an addiction. You know, and
I always said, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I always said with our relationship, you know, we always had a price to pay. You know, there was always a
Yeah.
sacrifice. You know, like with, I guess, everybody in life.
Understood.
You know, but there was always like a high point, but there was always something, you know,
Yeah.
that was happening, you know, and that just made it like, oh, you know, bittersweet.
but
Why do you think that was, though? That
I think honestly, I think it was me. I think I just, you know, I just was a mess, Aaron. You know, as well as I would do, I'd find some reason to mess it up. And I've been faithful to this woman for a lot of years, but I would find other ways to screw things up.
Okay.
But again, like my heart was like, my intention was never to her because I love her with all my heart, but I couldn't get out of that immature, you know, like, oh, making more money. Well, I could do this and that. I got full of myself. But, you know, she was the one for me. And I knew, like, that promise to God that took 10 years for her to come into my life, I never forgot that. It's one of those things, like I always refer back to that. Like, God gave me something, and I'm not going to mess this up. And I had to work on myself. And up until now, I'm 52 years old, I'll be 53. You know, we encountered more things later on in life, not just a few years ago.
Just to even get our home. Just to even get our home. I don't know if you want to tell the story, the trailer story.
Yeah. So I had a decent job, good job, drilling, and I wasn't saving no money, and credit was bad. We were just, you know, still going through our stuff.
Still up and downs.
And I said, I'm going to buy her house. And she said, well, how you plan on doing that? We have no credit, no money. And I just woke up one day and it popped in my head. I said, I'm going to buy a trailer and we're going to live in a trailer. And she's like, the hell I am. She used some other words.
Right. Yeah.
Some more colorful
Some more
words.
colorful
But she's like, yeah, that's never going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
And he tells me this while we're on vacation in Vegas, you know, where I'm having like a really good time. He sits me down and then he come up, because he always comes up with these,
Why did you
Yeah.
choose that time, John?
I don't know.
because I was drinking alcohol.
A little more.
But the irresponsible spontaneity of me,
Okay.
I wake up and I'm on a whim, and I'm telling you, I'm a very
Yeah.
immature man.
Yeah, you want to do that? Okay. Got
So,
it.
it popped in my head, like the whole plan. It just like I dreamt it. I just woke up like, okay, that's a good plan. To me, you know, this woman went to college.
Yeah.
She had jobs in the high rises in LA, and she got. I always say, I married up, you married down.
Yeah.
You know, and I always feel bad, like, you know. So I'm gonna buy your house. She's like, well, I'm not doing that. You come up with another plan. Well,
What's your plan B?
so
Let me hear
me is because her Mexican root, like we're Chicano.
Yeah.
I'm from California. Like we don't practice. My relationship with my parents is different from somebody that like true Mexicans.
Mm-hmm.
And she was raised. Her and her brothers too were raised to you respect and listen to your parents. It doesn't matter how old you are.
Right.
So I used that against her, and I called her dad. I go, suegro. I want to buy your daughter a house. I go, this is my plan, but she wants nothing to do with it. He goes, don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. So we were in Vegas, and
You already knew this, so.
yeah. So I said, okay. So I talked to the plan again, and she just tell.
I go,
okay,
what's your plan? Just tell me, because my dad called.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she had to listen.
Wow.
So,
I didn't have to listen. I
Out of respect.
chose to listen.
Yeah. So we went, and we got rid of the house we were renting. We didn't sign the new lease.
Mm-hmm.
She went on the road with me with the cat and dog, and the kids. You know, we would just get a hotel room or stay with family. Like when it was our time to get my kids and her kids.
Okay.
So it was.
Wow. How long did you do that?
For a year.
Oh my goodness.
For a year. So
In a trailer.
we ended up finding a trailer
at a campground.
Yeah, we looked for a trailer for like 2-3 months. We couldn't find one, and I finally found this guy that he just heard our story. He was from Temecula. He was a horse trainer, and he goes, well, I auctioned the trailers up because he has a big ranch and he has workers that live on his property, and every so often he'll cycle out a trailer.
Yeah.
And so we got a hold of him. She talked to him, and he goes, well, look, I already have an auction. People are coming for the trailer. He goes, just call. I'm going to work it so you guys get it. And yeah. And we got the trailer. We went and met with them, and it's him and his wife. And
Oh my goodness.
he was like, he just felt sympathetic to us. So we got a trailer. And then we had to find a place to live. So we were going around campsites, and we lived on a campsite. So now I have a good job. I was making pretty good money. And everyone's like, oh, here they go
What
again.
happened to John
What
and
happened to
Patty?
them? And
Why are they living in a
something going on,
campsite?
And
You're not gonna make it.
yeah, like
They're homeless.
they were like, oh my God, they hit rock bottom. Like,
Yeah.
My ex is like, what did he do to her?
yeah, and the kids
Doing drugs and
yeah, and then the kids would come.
Why
and
are the kids living in a
the kids would
campground
come
on
and
the
live with us.
weekend?
Yeah, it was bad. It was, but to them.
Yeah.
But we were happy. I was like, man, this is fun. Like we were saving all kinds of money.
Oh,
I fixed my credit in less than a year.
Yeah.
Saved a lot of money, our 3%.
Yeah.
And you know,
You bought your home?
about our home. It was actually, my son Aaron was born September 12th. We moved in the campsite September 12th. September 12th the following year,
We got the house.
we got the house and moved out 1 year to the day.
What a blessing.
And but people were like, we had to explain, and it was always us explaining to our family, us going through this and that.
His mom was so upset
Yeah, but
because I was living at a campground in a trailer, and they're like, John, why is she living in the campground?
so we were just all over the page.
Yeah.
We've been together for almost 20 years. We have been all over the page. And most people say, like, I don't know why you guys are still together, like, you know, and this and that. But when your heart, when you're...
And we pray on we pray every day.
God, we always say, God, like, it was hard for me to put that trust in God. Like, you do it, but you always want to fix things.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where people mess up. Because if you truly leave it to God and actually just sit back.
It's so hard to do that because, you know, it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's
very
scary because you don't
There's
know.
trust. You
Yeah.
gotta trust someone.
Right.
You gotta trust God, and that's hard sometimes.
Yeah, we get in our car and we're like, okay, you know, we pray, and then we just hope and we have faith, and then we go to bed and we're like, okay,
Well,
thank you.
This is, look at, on the way here, I go, I told her, I go, never in a million years. I go, I would see myself hanging out with Aaron. I go, we knew each other from back in the day.
Right.
We hung out a little bit. I go, but I would have never imagined me hanging out with you doing a podcast.
Yeah, that's something.
But you know, I thought I like when I seen you on social media and you were the tamales.
Yeah.
And I always respect, like, man, that's awesome. You know, I wanted to support that, and I bought some from you. And
Right.
but when you started doing this, and it's like, man, like, I love what you're doing, because I believe in God. I believe in relationships, and because I know our story and everything the world was saying, you guys shouldn't be together. Our love, when you love somebody, you know, it can work.
Absolutely.
But everything we've been through, like, it was work. And when you're going through the storm, nothing looks hopeful.
Absolutely.
Nothing looks hopeful.
You're right.
You know, and
We had a million reasons not to be together, and we had so many people not wanting, you know, for us to work, and I could have walked away.
I'm glad you brought that up, because what I want to key on right now is something that I'm not familiar with, and I think there's a theme in your relationship. You keep saying family. Now, I know people are going to watch this and they're going to resonate with that, because some families are called enmeshed, just all in each other's business, like mine was growing up. Not so much now. But I want to ask a few more questions about that, because along your story, you always said the family was involved. The family was involved. There's always some influence, outside influence in your relationship.
Yeah.
And at times it seemed like it was a good thing, and sometimes it was a bad thing. And it seemed like it complicated your relationship. So tell me more about that today. How was that today? Has that changed, or has that...
It's great now.
Okay. Tell me, has it changed? Is it changed?
Well, I had to admit to... My mom passed away, but
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
I had to admit to her, like, what I did. And when my mom found out, she told her, like, why didn't you tell me? She said, well, I love your son. Like, so I think my siblings had animosity, like, because they love me. So I think they had animosity because my mom had animosity towards her for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And when before my mom died, like, she made peace with my mom, but it was nothing to be made of. My mom just, I kept stuff from her. And I never protected my wife, and told my mom, like, no, it's not her, it was me. But I didn't want to face my mom and tell her, like, here I go again, because she seemed so. My mom,
So you let it fall on
yeah,
her. Okay.
that was the wrong thing to do. So
And it was wrong on my part to protect him and continue. I should have been more honest with her and said, but, you know, that's her son. She loves him. That's her mijo, you know.
Yeah.
but when
No, I
things
get it.
got better with my mom, things got better with my siblings. Not that they really gave her a bad time, but there was some animosity, and it was never too good. And plus, too, because we got married. People were upset when we got married because it's like I was disrespecting my baby sister, you know. But it's just like, I tried to explain, and I didn't go into detail. Like, you guys don't understand. Like, my life's in shambles. I understand I lost a niece, but, like, I was so chaotic in my life. Like, if I don't do this, like,
We just didn't know how to explain it, and and we apologized. You know, it was very hurtful.
but
you know, but
it took a lot, all these years up until the last few years. Like, things are really good with my siblings and my wife.
yeah.
Her mom and dad, I finally won them over, because it's like,
Okay.
I do love this woman. I do have the best interest for her. But, you know,
It took all that time, though.
I just
seeing
think when you're young, you don't comprehend, and you don't know how to communicate well, and you think you're in trouble, you know.
Yeah.
So, well, as far as for me,
That's cultural too.
Yeah.
I think all of us.
I don't want to be in
Yeah.
trouble with mom and dad,
Right.
you know, because I already messed up, and I don't want them to judge me.
Then you have that guilt.
But then,
Yeah.
you get judged anyways, and you make it worse.
and
You know, and I
because-
think with maturity, now that we're older, you know, I am more honest, you know, and also I'm my own person now.
That's great to hear.
And before, you know, I didn't know who I was. I didn't know where to fit in, and I made mistakes, and I just didn't want to have to explain.
Yeah,
you know?
we didn't give the full story, and so when your people's families are looking, what they're seeing if you're not gonna go and share your life with them, and you know, they only got, like, I guess, bad, the bad movie of us.
Mm-hmm.
Some good, but more bad. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're seeing, and we were so, you know, like this. That's what they saw. So there was judgment,
Yeah.
and but when it came down to it, like, we were in love now.
Uh-huh.
We were like, we always loved each other, and we fought, like, all the stuff we told you, and there was more stories, but we fought to stay together, and we worked and worked and worked at it, and we were in love. Like, we loved being with each other, even when we fight. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be with nobody else. Yeah, we have disagreements, but the family, I guess what it took all these years is because our actions started speaking louder than the words.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they started seeing, like, you know what, like, they are, you know, like,
Mm-hmm.
if the perception they had of us was changing,
Mm-hmm.
but it took all this time because, you know, I started getting better. I started doing things, but,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we were always happy when they see us. We'd be, like, loving with each other and just inseparable. Even to this day, her goddaughter, like, you know, you guys are lovebirds. People always told us, like, man, you guys are like lovebirds, and you know, but it took time.
It took time. Yeah.
So the family, it took a lot of years, most of our relationship, for them to see, like, you know, this is us.
Yeah.
This is, we're gonna grow old together,
Absolutely.
and we're gonna have problems.
Yeah, definitely.
And
But I think, like you said, I think most of it when we were younger, and we weren't that young. We were just younger in our head,
Mhm.
and you know, you make mistakes, and you don't want to have to explain because, you know, shame on you that you
Yeah.
didn't make it, you didn't make that marriage work, or you put your kids through it, or
because everyone's always ready to point that finger at
The
you.
expectation they have of you.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah, and so I think most of it is you just, when you don't say and you don't explain,
Because you don't want to feel that
you open
shame
that
anymore. Yeah.
you open that door to judge you.
Yeah.
We don't
So-
hear it.
Families can be tough on that's why I see that in how it influenced your relationship. It's families can get
And
too
then,
involved.
and then also too, now instead of the family, more towards my first relationship, instead of the family like helping the marriage,
Mhm.
you know, maybe that could have helped.
Absolutely. Absolutely. A different way. Instead of getting hurt and
Yeah.
not understanding, just being a little more patient and more kind and
Yeah,
more.
because now that with my kids, you know, and they have problems, you know, as what didn't happen in my relationships, you know, I try to be there with my kids when they
Absolutely.
have trouble with like their wives or their girlfriends or
Right.
whatnot. You know, I try to
They've
make a little bit.
They've seen it all.
Yeah.
They've seen
I'm
a
sure.
lot, and we don't ever try to sugarcoat it. We've been open. Like, look what we've been through. Like, you know, you can't make this work. You know, you can't, like people don't fight no more for their relationship. And yeah, I know it didn't work out with our previous, you know, marriages, but you know, I don't know if it was like in my case. I don't think it was. I think because I just jumped the gun and did a lot of things, you know, without giving thought and consideration. Like, I just ended up getting with somebody, having kids, and then that was that. You know, and it was. I don't think that was supposed to happen. It did.
Yeah.
You know, they say God has a plan for you, but I believe our plan, like, just the way it worked out, Aaron, me going to Arizona, me meeting, the way I met her, like, I'm such a believer in God now. Whether I practice it strong or not, like, my faith has always been with God, and I'm a work in progress until the day I die.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep messing up, but I believe in God, and I do believe like things are happening, like us being here with you and sharing our story, because I think this is what God has for us, and people need to see, you know.
And we're peaceful people. I mean, even people that have done us wrong. I mean, I have a good relationship with my ex-husband now.
That's good.
I mean, we
Good.
keep it, you know, really peaceful with you know, his ex and people that have hurt us, and we're in a good place with everyone.
Yeah, we we just want.
There's forgiveness at the end of the day.
Forgiveness.
There's forgiveness,
Yeah.
and I forgive, and if I've hurt anybody, you know, I've asked for forgiveness.
John, I want to ask you about your journey. You said you were impulsive before, immature. How have you worked on yourself to help just yourself to be a stronger sense of self, and how to show up in the marriage?
So, again, I'm still the work in progress. A couple of years ago, I got in trouble, and I was losing my license, my commercial license, and at the time, so all this is, we have our home, we're doing good, and we had to get custody of her son. Her son was going through a bad marriage, divorce, and they lost custody of the kids, and they were going to go into a thing, and they asked us, can we get them? And it's like our life got disrupted again. I didn't handle it well. And I was on the road, and she had to quit her job, and we had to foster these kids, and I was upset with the son because it's like, well, what are you doing to fix things? And it's like, now it's on us. Instead of me being more mature, I didn't handle it well. So I started drinking again with my buddies, and I got into trouble, and now I'm going to lose my license. Well, it wasn't just, okay, well, he's losing his commercial license. I'm going to lose my job now. And I was going to lose our health benefits. And at the time, she was, we thought she had cancer, and she had a thyroid problem. And it was perfect timing because I made such a mess. We're going to get divorced again. We're fighting now. And so what happened was, is like, she was supposed to have surgery. I'm going to lose my health insurance. How, we think she has cancer. Like, what am I going to do?
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was a blessing in disguise because we got through it. She didn't have cancer. She had to have her thyroid removed, part of it, and we got through it. But it's like, now I'm gonna lose my job. But then God got us through that. Like, so we were going through a whirlwind of things.
Oh, one after another. Boom.
Yeah.
Boom.
Like,
boom.
With three
Like
kids under 6 years old.
Oh my goodness.
I had to get an attorney. I was like, look, I'm guilty. Just buy me time till my wife has her surgery in June. This is in February, 2023. And he goes, I don't know if I can promise that. I'm like, you need to do something. Like, my wife has to have her surgery. I'll figure out a job later, this and that.
Yeah.
So he gets us through it. He delays my court case. And she gets her surgery. It wasn't cancer. They did have to remove part of her, so she's okay. So now it's like, the day of her surgery, I'm in the parking lot. I took a couple of days off, and then I get a phone call like, hey, the guy that was replacing me for the day, they're sending me home. What's going on? And because I was the supervisor for our crew, and they go, we're losing our job. The new owners are doing away with construction. We're a engineering company. We do construction. We do it's called cathodic protection. We do protection gas lines and underground utilities. We have a contract with the DOD. So anyways, they said they're doing away with construction. I was like, what? Like, oh my God, like, here we go. Like, so now I got in trouble with, like, I'm going to lose my job. My wife is going through surgery. This is the day she's in surgery. I'm getting this phone call. So I go back to work that following Monday. I'm like, what's happening? Like, whoa, they're going to keep some crews, but everyone got fired effective immediately. Even the personnel in the offices, anything that had to do with construction, done. I was like, okay, well, what's this story with us? Well, you have till September 29th. They're going to give us a severance package, and then you're done. So I was kind of like, well, I was going to lose my job anyways, I was kind of like, whatever.
We lose our job, we lose our health insurance with everything else.
Yeah. And at this time, that I just wanted her to get, make sure she was okay. So she went through surgery, and it's like, thank you, Jesus. Like, we got to this. But it's like, hey, I got something to tell you. She goes, why you're in surgery? I'm going to lose my job now. And she's like, oh, great, So we were barely talking. All these months that went by.
Wow. She
was so hurt and upset with me. How can you do this? Just like, things are just better, and like, we're going to church. I was, going to church, and it's like, here I go again. So.
You forgot to tell them that I spent upstairs a whole month.
Yeah. We lived here. We did it, and I felt so guilty. It's like, do you want me to leave? Like, I can stay in the road.
Yeah.
She goes, no, and this and that, and because our hearts, we still love each other, but she was just hurt with me. So it was a blessing in disguise because God got us through that. Then July, end of July, they call me and they say, "Hey, we got an opening for you to have back," because I'm broken too. I have 2 bad knees, a bad back, and they got me in for surgery. It's like, well, we're gonna lose the severance package. We need money, like things, you know.
Yeah.
And I went on disability. We decided, like, screw it, we're gonna go on disability. Disability actually paid pretty well, but no severance package. We didn't know how much we were gonna get, and it's like, all right. Well, September 29th comes along. They gave me the severance package because I didn't technically quit. I went on disability. We got it. So financially, medically, God got us through.
We're still watching the 3 kids that are fostering.
And you still have 3 kids.
Yeah, and financially, God was getting us through. But when all these months were going by, it was chaos.
Yeah.
I really got involved with the church. I went to AA. It took that mistake, when you asked me, it took that mistake for me to finally, at 50, I think it was 51 50, or 50, to finally open my eyes.
To hit you.
And that's what it took.
Okay.
So even though, like I said, we went through all these stories we told you, I would still mess up.
Yeah.
And that was the final straw. It took, I guess, all these years for me to finally open my eyes and realize, like, what are you doing? Yeah. Why I didn't do this years earlier, I don't know. And I'm not even going to try to go down that road, but it took this time. Maybe I wasn't mature enough. It just, but at this time when this happened, I stopped drinking.
Yeah.
And that alone changed things. We weren't that good yet, but I was going to AA. I was like forcing myself on the church involvement, and I was like, and now we start fighting, like, well, I gotta fix me. I can't fix, and it's like it was always me.
Yeah.
So I had to fix myself.
And you withdraw at that point.
Yeah.
Because even though we were good, you kind of have that point where it's like you become numb.
Well,
because
that's
he's
the word.
because he's working on himself, and I appreciate that, and I want you to, but you just become numb.
And you know what? Real quick, what really did it too is, like, she didn't even have the energy to fight with me no more. I don't know if you know this look, but she gave me a look of, like, disappointment and done.
Disgust.
Yeah. And when I saw that on her and the way she was reacting to me, I lost her.
Yeah.
I lost her. But she wouldn't leave me. But I lost her. And I was like, how do you fix this?
Yeah.
You put this woman through so much. How do you fix this?
Yeah.
So I just prayed to God, and it was like, and I made another promise, like, because you came through with me years ago, like, if you give me somebody, like, so I made a promise, and it's like, little by little, every day, I just focused on me, because there's nothing I could do with her no more. I just did what I had to do with the marriage, with those kids at our house, and I just kept working on me, and it took a lot of months, and a lot of patience on her end.
Super patience, yeah.
But little by little, like, she saw, like, okay, he's not drinking no more, he's not doing the things he's doing, and up until now, like, our life, like, we're.
But it took all of that to break all that down on him, and made me see the real John, the John that I knew was always there,
that you saw glimpses of every now and then.
Yeah. And that's the man that I love. That's the faith. That's God's work. That's the real John that I love and trust and have faith in, and I know that's going to protect me. The man that I fell in love with. And the man that God gave me.
Yeah. And I want to know this. When this was going on, you had the 3 children. You had, what he had in court, and the job loss, and then you're scared with cancer. How were you able to hold on? And you talked about forgiveness earlier. How were you able to work through your forgiveness to get to this point where you're still with him?
I prayed every day, and I left everything to God. And when I got those children, I didn't look at, because everybody would look at me like, you're crazy. Why are you doing this? Why are you taking on these kids? and there's a story behind that too. I mean, but I looked at it. I was serving God.
Did that distraction help you?
Yes.
Deal? Okay.
Yeah, and I looked at it like I was serving. You know, these kids had me, and I wasn't gonna let them go. You know, they're already going through so much. Like, I'm all they had.
Yeah.
So it's something that I had to do.
Yeah.
And I wasn't looking for anybody, to thank you, Patty, or anything. It's just something that I had to do, and I did it. And
I'll tell you this real quick, not to cut you off, but it was so bad. She had saved a lot of money because we were going to be in financial like it was going to come. It was going to come, and so I guess because I still don't know 100% the answer to that question, but she stayed.
Yeah.
She stayed, and then finally she goes, I'm like, man, what would I do? I'm going to have to find a job. And because I was on disability, but it wasn't going to last forever.
Right.
And I still had to get 2 knee surgeries. So I was like, I can't really fully go back to construction. Like, so it's like, okay, here we go. It's going to be another year of
challenges
chaos,
again. Yeah.
Challenges. And she goes, hey.
After he was good, though, I didn't tell him when I was doing it. After he was good, and I felt okay, like I wasn't gonna leave. I told him that I had saved.
You had money saved up.
Yes.
But I think that was her getaway money. I always like, well, that was your getaway money. She still won't admit it.
Something switched.
But she stayed.
She had an out, but she stayed.
She stayed. And it was like, and going back to God, like I always, that last year, 2023 and 24, it was like this, and you fight about money, and you fight about, a lot of things, and it's chaos in everyone. You can't see straight. But when you get through that time, and if you actually stop and look back and think, like, and I told her, like, man, God always had our back. Like, if you would just let it go, and people say, leave it in God's hands. Easier said than done.
Yes.
We want to fix it. But if you really did, like, I'm sharing with you, like, he got us through the ordeal. I have my license. It worked out with my license. It worked out with her surgery. Right. It worked out with my surgeries.
It worked out with the kids.
It worked out with the kids.
Wow.
It worked out with the money. But when you're living it,
you don't think it's gonna work out.
And you're like this. Well, that's the difference, man. Like, when she says she prayed and you leave it in God's hands, like, it took more of that stuff for me to go through to realize.
And it's an emotional roller coaster. I always tell him, I go, when am I going to get off this ride?
Yeah.
It's always something's always happening. Like, I didn't sign up for this.
Yeah.
And I have to stop myself from thinking like that, because that's just life.
That's just life.
That's just life. You're never going to get off.
Yeah.
But
and
leave it to God's hands.
Yeah, and I think God puts you through that, and He makes you a stronger soldier. So you have to be thankful for the bad times too. Because sometimes He has to hit you over the head with things to wake you up.
Look what you have.
So you're blessed when good things happen, but I think you're also blessed when bad things happen.
Because there's lessons. We're because we have so much faith in God. Maybe I don't practice like certain people, but we're 100. Like, we praise God, we love God, we leave it in His hands, and it's sometimes it's like nail biting.
I think we're together, and I think we're a strong couple because of our faith, and because we work at our relationship.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
it's not easy. It's not easy. He gets on my last nerve.
Yeah, no, that's that's the misconception that people have. Oh, they're a great couple, and they go to church and they praise God. There's still times when I irritate my wife.
Yeah.
There's still times when I say wrong things.
Yeah.
But now that we have the faith, it's we're more forgiving. We're more slow to anger now.
I'm lucky that I have certain people that I could confide in, and they listen and don't judge. That's kind of like a popular term these days.
Some of the family members that she couldn't before.
Yeah.
They've turned around.
Yeah. I have a certain family member that thank you, you know who you are, that, you know, I could vent to. And you know,
Because that's come full
That's
circle.
great. Wow.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a blessing to have.
because you know, sometimes, you know, you can't tell your mom, you
Mhm.
can't tell, you know, your friend, you can't
Mhm.
tell, you know, certain people, because you just need a vent, and
Mhm.
and just be listened to without being judged, without going to repeat it to
Absolutely.
somebody else. And
Yeah.
you know,
But
I'm
yeah,
blessed for that.
but yeah,
Yeah.
we irritate each other all the time. And now that we're working together, like literally physically working together,
Yeah.
we probably, but it's funny because if you were a stranger and you saw us, I'm like, you know, yapping, and then 2 seconds later, like, oh, did you hear that song? Or oh, did you?
Yeah.
And it's like, what did? Weren't they fighting?
Right.
But it's just our relationship has grown. Like it's
Yeah.
gonna happen.
That's your communication style. Yeah.
Sometimes we just argue. Sometimes we just irritate each other.
Mhm.
And sometimes we're just fine in perfect harmony and silence.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
But we don't
Yeah.
take it. We don't take it to that next level no more. So if we fight, it's like we're just. It's
We're
just a
over
fight.
it.
Yeah.
Really
we,
fast.
we look at it as like, well, it's just a fight. It's not like the emotions are building up, and that, you know how it starts that you know you're emotional about it. You get angry and angrier, more, and then it turns into something bad. It never gets to that point no more because it's like it's just a fight. That's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing more. No more.
You just have to love each
investment
other.
there.
You just
Yeah.
have to love each other, put up with each other, you know, care for each other, respect, you know, set boundaries, even
Mhm.
though you're married.
Yeah.
But
And-
if you do gotta have faith in God, because I'll tell you what she was saying. And I wanted to add to it. It's true. If God wants us to go through this financial struggle or go through this, like instead of looking like why is this happening to me,
Mhm.
is maybe God needs you to like
Mhm.
with me and my job and what I did
Mhm.
with my license. Like if that wouldn't have happened,
You would have continued.
yeah, I wouldn't be the
Mhm.
man I am right
Yeah.
now. And I really started to love who I am, and I never felt that way before.
Yeah.
So I like the man I'm becoming, even at 52.
Good. Yeah, absolutely.
So-
I'm glad to hear you say that, John, because you have to love yourself. And when you said that, it shows that you have pride in yourself, and you have more patience with yourself, and more understanding,
In growth,
and growth.
I never, you know, that's why I tell people, like, I don't care how old you are, like, you keep getting back up and keep trying, because if I can learn at my age, when I should have learned at 20 or
Mhm.
whatever, you know, I should have learned these lessons a long time ago. I had every opportunity to, but
Yeah.
for some reason, whatever, you know,
That's
God
your
had me
journey.
go through this. That's what I had to go
That's
through.
your journey. We all
Yeah.
have our individual journeys.
And I can live with that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like a lot of things I did, but you know what? It made me who I am. I like who I'm becoming,
Yeah.
and I want to just be a better human being, and to this world. That's
Yeah.
why you know, a lot of things she says, like it's true. Like we don't have, you know, there's people out there that we had arguments or this and that, but we made peace with that.
Yeah.
You know, we don't like a lot of certain things, but we made peace with it because if you want true happiness, you gotta let it all go.
Mhm.
It's poison, right? They say it's
Poison,
it's
yeah,
toxin
toxic.
to us, and so when
And
she says,
and our children are grown now, and we have great relationships with all our children. We didn't have children of our own, you know, we had
Mhm.
pets, but we're in a good place. We, you know, the kids have turned out to be great human beings and adults, and we have
Wonderful.
wonderful grandchildren. So life is good, you know. We feel good. We're in a good place.
One thing I want to do before we go, I want to ask you individually. Tell me something that's good about John today in your relationship.
He has the best heart. He'll give you the shirt off his back. He's a great provider, a good father, a good papa.
That's
And I
wonderful.
love him with all my heart.
That's wonderful. John, same question. What's good about Patricia today in your relationship?
it's funny you asked that because I just told her, not last night, the night before at work. I said, "You are an amazing human being." I go, you know, the stuff that I put you through and people put you. I go, you're different. Your heart is pure, and I felt bad pointing her stuff, but she's an amazing. You know, there's only so many people who come to this earth that are just genuine,
Mhm.
and my wife, that's what I love about her. She's a genuine person. her heart is always, you know, in the right, going. How do you say it? She just always has a great outlook on stuff, as far as like she just wants to be a kind person and genuine to everybody, and not pass judgment. You know, life gets a hold of you, but that's why I love her. She's pure. She's one of those people, like, man, when God, she's a gift from God, and I just want to respect God for putting her in my life, because I don't meet a lot of people like this. And when they're here, you got to hold on to that, and appreciate what God, the gift God gave you. And I believe all that stuff I told you in the tap, God had a purpose, and put her in my life, and I have to I have to respect God and thank God for that. You know, she's not just my wife; like, she's a gift from God, and that's how I look at her. Because I look at her, man, like, you've been through so much, and it's like I don't want to put her through that no more.
Good.
You know,
Good.
She makes me want to, like, do better.
Wonderful.
And she brings that. So that's the quality she has.
Good.
You know, I think she's and she needs to infect the world with her love and her personality, because,
Wonderful.
you know.
Good. And I'm glad that I had you guys here today. I thought
Thank
it was
you for
important.
having us.
Oh, you're welcome. Absolutely. I wanted to, like I said before, that people know that there is hope. There's nothing too big that God can't work in your life. There's no problem that is just going to overwhelm Him. Yeah. You're the example of that. You went through so many things, and I want to bring this hope to my channel, to the world, and that's people who are struggling, couples who are struggling like you were, to say, you know what, I'm going to do the work. I'm going to hold on. I'm going to change my attitude. I'm going to turn to God. I'm going to just improve myself and my outlook. And you guys are a great example of that. And you've made it this far. And I know it's not the end. This is the, you know, you're still working every day at it. Again, relationships aren't perfect. But I appreciate being here. And we all need a run back, right? We got to, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's do that again. Let's do that over again. Let's run it back. So I appreciate you. Thank you for being on Relationship Run Back.
Yeah,
and I look forward to having you guys on again.
We'll definitely do it again. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, that was amazing.
That was all. I hope we did okay.